o'clock on the East Coast, and this is The Five. I'm Dana Perino, along with my good friends Kimberly Guilfoyle, Bob Beckel, Eric Bowling, and Greg Gutfeld. We've got a lot to cover today, so first, American-born terror leader Anwar al-Awlaki killed, the al-Qaeda leader taken down by an airstrike in Yemen. We'll have those details. Plus, how could these events help or hurt President Obama's re-election campaign? Then Vice President Biden said what?
What's relevant is we're in charge.
Joe Biden says this administration is responsible for the current state of the economy, and this is what you get when you let Joe go be Joe. And it's the environment versus the economy in the battle over the Keystone Pipeline. The five of us will give you our thoughts on that and much more. The Five starts right now. Right to our top story, a major accomplishment in the war on terror. It is now confirmed that a joint CIA military operation killed American-born cleric Anwar al-Awlaki and Samir Khan. As you may remember, al-Awlaki was, try to say that 3 times real fast, was also influential in plots here at home in the U.S. Those include the Army major charged with the 2009 Fort Hood massacre, the underwear bomber who tried to blow up a plane on Christmas in 2009, and the Pakistani-American man who pleaded guilty to the foiled Times Square plot just last year. It's also he was believed to have been in contact with al-Awlaki as well. One of the things that Secretary of Defense Leon Panetta said today is that because of today's action, America is safer. Props for the administration as well as the intelligence community, right, Eric?
Yeah, absolutely. Petraeus and Panetta, both of them. Look, the strategy's working. It's a drone attack with the intel. The only issue, look, the issue I have is Mr. Obama came out today during a podium appearance and said, look at what we've done. I'm not so sure he should be taking all the credit for this. You know, Dana, George Bush, your administration put a lot of the infrastructure in place that they're using to capture and kill these bad guys, and all of a sudden there's a victory lap by the White House.
I don't think it was a victory lap.
Greg,
I saw him.
Honestly, every day we hear we've inherited this bad economy. We've inherited this bad. I know. How about, hey, we inherited some pretty darn good intel.
Well, there was certainly infrastructure put in place and different policies, some which were very controversial. And Kimberly, from a legal perspective, would love to get your thoughts on this, because there is a question of whether or not America can kill a U.S. citizen, especially on foreign soil, or anywhere.
A U.S. citizen who has essentially declared war against the United States, not once, not twice, but over and over again, and continued to be actively involved in jihadist movements. He was charismatic. He was operational in terms of what he was able to accomplish. His influence was far-reaching. He was one of the first that we described as a digital jihadist. In terms of the law, we were well within the law to be able to put this hit out on him, to use a Predator drone, because he was someone who took up arms against the United States. He was a terrorist, committed acts of terrorism against us, and that's something that we have precedent to do.
So while legal, Bob, possibly causing some heartburn, especially on the left.
Well, I don't want to argue with my lawyer friend here on this, but and let me just correct Eric, which seems to be a normal course of events for me. But I will give the Bush administration credit for their intelligence. The drone movement was heavily Obama's, and they have done a good job with it. But in this case,
actually,
here's where I have a problem. Here's where I have a problem, and that is that the decision was made in the 1970s that the CIA had gone rogue, and they passed laws which established the intelligence committees in the House and the Senate and the FISA courts. As much as this may be a bad guy, and I have no reason to believe he's not, but he has not been to trial. He's not had evidence put against him. And frankly, I think we're getting on a slippery slope here. This guy may be an exception because he's such a bad guy, but the United States government taking out United States citizens without trial.
And you're saying without due process.
Without due process, I think is a bad precedent, and it also is illegal in certain areas.
How is that different than a guy committing a crime and you shoot him? Cops do that all the time. I think because he's an American citizen, that's even more reason to kill him. It makes it worse.
And we had, Ron Paul all day saying he wasn't sure. He actually thought this was the wrong way to go about things. But if you go to the U.S. Code, the Criminal Code, Section 2381, it's the definition of treason right there. Whoever owing allegiance to the United States levies war against them or adheres to their enemies, giving them aid or comfort within the United States or elsewhere, is guilty of treason. That is the
operable line. You're right. Except that here's my only problem. Despite all the information we've gotten from the intelligence community that he was involved in these various things, it has not been presented as evidence in due process. That's my only problem with it. And I don't care about this guy. I'm glad he's dead. I'm just saying that I think that when you decide to declare somebody a terrorist, you better be able to prove it in a due process procedure that this guy did not have.
So you take issue with the administration for doing that?
I do.
One of the things that I don't know how many drone attacks, because as far as I remember, we didn't publicize them that much. But sometimes when they happen, when you have a high-profile terrorist like this, you want to let it known, or the host or the government of the country in which you have just used the drone has a problem, like in Pakistan. But in this case, Yemen is nearly a failed state. We don't have good cooperation with Saleh. And I read somewhere today where it said maybe this will help improve relations between the United States and Yemen, which seems bizarre. But there's a problem with just killing these terrorists, which is, if you capture them, that's when you can question them and find out what other plots. We just read all of those plots that he had.
Valuable intel.
You might. I mean, there's value in making sure he is stopped, but I do think there's still value in bringing them back.
Isn't that why the Obama? I'm sorry, Kim. Isn't that why they're using the drone attacks, so they don't have to bring them back and make a decision?
You don't have to waterboard them if you blow them up.
Well, do we waterboard them?
Three
do we send
people
them to
been
Gitmo?
Look, the one thing we don't.
The decision process is over when you kill them.
The one thing we don't know is under the Foreign Intelligence Act, where there's now been a FISA court established, where you can go and get wiretaps, you can get other things. I don't know. Maybe they did get this evidence presented in front of them, and they approved it. If they did, that's fine. All I'm saying is I wish there was a step before you make this decision, and the FISA courts are there to do that. And I just wish they would.
But we don't know. President Obama might have done that.
Yeah, he might have. That's right. He might
that's
have
just
done
something that we just don't know.
I just don't know. I can't.
But can we talk about President Obama a little bit? Because when Osama bin Laden was killed in April, and then we have this big terrorist kill today, there is the question then, okay, leading up to the election, does it help him or hurt him going into it? Probably, I think, my guess is that it helps a little bit with the right in terms of thinking that he's tough on terror, but there's nobody in the Republican field that they would think is not tough on terror, so maybe it's just a wash.
I think it should help him because I think he deserves it. This is one of the great achievements of his administration is that he continues to collect scalps. And I know that he's had help from previous administrations, but it makes me proud to see this happen. And I just want to say another thing. You know, there's a lot of critics about this that are saying every time you kill one of these guys, you transform a marginal character into a martyr. That has not happened. It has not happened. It didn't happen with Saddam Hussein. It didn't happen with bin Laden. It didn't happen with any of these disgusting people.
Yeah, it's a false argument.
Kill them all. They'll keep making more, and you continue to kill them. They're like cockroaches.
Well, let's talk about the politics for a second. First of all, the one thing that disturbs me a little bit about this is the assumption in these questions is that liberals are not happy to see terrorists dead. We happen to be happy to see them dead. Will it matter in the final analysis for Obama? No. I don't think foreign policy issues like this are going to translate themselves into 2012. It's too much dominated by the economy.
That's
but I just want to clear that one thing up. There's a lot of people in the progressive movement are very happy to see terrorists go.
You take issue with the due process.
Yeah. Do you guys realize that the Obama administration and Eric Holder took CIA agents to task, actually threatening to bring them to court over enhanced interrogation.
The CIA interrogator.
So let's just say
that's why they're being killed now.
The problem is inconsistent policies.
Bear with me. So let's walk through the steps. So a year and a half ago, they do this. The CIA backs off interrogations. They don't get information from Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed doesn't roll and give him Osama bin Laden. Bin Laden doesn't give up his treasure trove of information, and maybe we don't get al-Awlaki also. So you have terrorists running around.
So the answer is to let the United States fall down on its knees and go with some of these other thugs and break the law. Is that what you're saying?
But see, that's the issue.
Waterboarding is terror,
Bob,
and it is torture, and by any other definition.
Well, that's your opinion about it, because the individuals that acted within and under the scope of the law, those are the memorandums, that was the research, and that was the order that was put forward. They acted within the scope of the law, and then this administration continues to want to prosecute and investigate the people who were actually doing their job to help make this country safer.
They operated within
and
the
they
scope
got information directly from Khalid Sheikh Mohammed that led to the death.
They operated in the scope of the law as understood by Atherton and by Cheney, which is not within the scope of the law.
More important, can I just make one last point? What about the magazine Aspire? They lost 2 of their editors. I have a subscription. Am I still going to get my issues?
Get your money back.
We will find out after this break. Coming up, A shocking admission from the White House, and it came from the mouth of the Vice President, Joe Biden. President Obama has said, you have to let Joe go be Joe. But is this what he had in mind? Also, don't forget, we love to get your emails. thefive@foxnews.com. We'll be right back.
I don't like the